So we had this deal. The deal arrived. When is inauguration day? There are fences everywhere in DC, so it's coming up soon, very soon. In a matter of days, Donald Trump will be president of the United States, and Joe Biden will be staring at a wall, drooling somewhere in Delaware. And Trump is getting the credit, somewhat justifiably, for this ceasefire. This is how the Israeli newspaper Haaretz reported it. Late Friday evening, Steve Witkoff, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's Middle East envoy, called from Qatar to tell Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's aides that he would be coming to Israel the following afternoon. The aides politely explained that was in the middle of the Sabbath, but that the Prime Minister would gladly meet him Saturday night. Witkoff's blunt reaction took them by surprise. He explained to them in salty English. I wonder what his salty English was. Tell the fucking Shabbos Goy to turn on your TV. That Shabbat was of no interest to him. His message was loud and clear. Thus, in an unusual departure from official practice, the Prime Minister showed up at his office for an official meeting with Witkoff, who then returned to Qatar to seal the deal. And, all through Israel, they have Shabbat elevators where it stops on every floor without you having to push a button. And Netanyahu is not even religious. Yeah. He doesn't even believe in the Jewish God Yahweh. He believes in Satan, but I don't think he's religious. He's not known to observe the Sabbath. So it's just a way of trying to screw with the Americans again. And they told him it wasn't business as usual. And Netanyahu has a closer relationship with Trump, but Trump is also sort of unpredictable. Chaim Levinson, who is a columnist for Haaretz, someone from the liberal enlightened public who became somewhat genocidal after October 7th. What I'm saying is he's not like an anti-war leftist. This was his characterization of what Donald Trump did. There was no deal. LOL. The great and huge Donald Trump took Netanyahu's hand, bent it behind his back, then bent it a little more, then pushed his head on the table, then whispered in his ear that he would kick his balls in a moment. It's a shame Biden didn't realize this a long time ago. Do you accept this analysis, Aaron?
The problem is Biden's been so feckless and so slavishly complicit that, yeah, it actually is quite possible that maybe Trump not wanting to have this going on before coming into office did actually apply some pressure, and that forced Netanyahu's hand. But there are many other alternative explanations. As we've discussed, Netanyahu is very tight with Miriam Adelson, who's one of Trump's top donors. So maybe Netanyahu wanted to give Trump a win. And Israeli officials are playing along with this narrative that Trump forced their hand to basically give Trump a win, knowing that once Trump takes office, they'll be free to do whatever they want. But then you look at how awful Biden has been and just how they refuse to use any leverage. And you think actually it's quite possible that just one threat from the Trump team via his Middle East envoy made a difference. I'm open to anything at this point, just given how awful Biden has been. And certainly Biden's been so bad that it just makes anything possible. It does. It really does. Because Biden's been uniquely devoted to Israeli mass murder, talking about his emotional connection to Israel. Does Trump have that same emotional connection on a personal level? No. He just cares about real estate deals.
Yeah.
But whereas Biden actually believes in his soul about the importance of Israel as a U.S. client state. He's talked about that his whole career. So
yeah, what does Biden say? If we didn't have Israel, if there was no Israel, we'd have to invent it.
Yeah. Like, does Trump believe that? No, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. So, and certainly there've been enough sources, not just coming from Israel. I mean, Gulf states have said this as well, who were involved in brokering these talks, that Trump made a difference. So, Yeah, I actually am open to believing it, but again, the real proof will be once Trump takes office, whether anything really changes then.
I wasn't planning on playing this, but since Biden's leaving, this is who he is. This is 1986.
If we look at the Middle East, I think it's about time we stop, those of us who support, as most of us do, Israel in this body, for apologizing for our support for Israel. There's no apology to be made. None. It is the best $3 billion investment we make. Were there not an Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region. The United States would have to go out and invent an Israel.
So that's what, 1986 that we say?
Yeah, back when he could form sentences.
So what is Israel doing for the U.S. at that time? One of the things they're doing is they're running guns to death squads in Central America after Congress put some curbs on the Reagan administration's dirty wars there. So, and there's a great book on this by Andrew and Leslie Coburn, Dangerous Liaison. They talked about this. That's why I think Biden was so enthusiastic about Israel. And also they were helping out with also helping to help apartheid South Africa on the U.S.'s behalf when the U.S. also couldn't do that without attracting congressional pushback. So
helping them get nuclear technology.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why he's so gung-ho about Israel back then.
Yeah, that's Joe Biden. And there are other, we'll get into why the Biden administration really loved this war, learned to really love this war, while pretending that, as AOC said, they were working tirelessly for a ceasefire. But I think you're right, Aaron, that there's another dimension, which is that Netanyahu did want Trump to get the win for the ceasefire and not Biden. But the Biden team, by holding off for 8 months on the same deal that was signed, this is the same deal that was put on the table on May 26th. They gave the win to Trump as well. But Donald Trump himself does not want to enter office with an open-ended conflict that could lead to regional warfare. So there are many factors here. I also think that Netanyahu now wants to focus on the West Bank, to crushing the resistance in the northern West Bank, in Jenin and Tulkarm. And Netanyahu is going to the extent that there ever were any breaks at all, Netanyahu is going to give him carte blanche to do whatever he wants there. And the West Bank is also, has been constantly undergoing a process of colonization, which a lot of religious nationalist fanatics in Israel wanted to restore to Gaza, but they're going to have to postpone that. So I think we're going to see the West Bank get significantly worse in the coming year. And that's why we have to keep our attention on Palestine. It won't be getting the same headlines that Gaza got, at least initially.
Something similar happened when Obama was inaugurated the first time in 2009. At that point, Israel was carrying out a massacre in Gaza. And the Obama team told Israel to wrap it up, that they didn't want to have the Gaza massacre then distract from their, celebration of Obama's inauguration. So Israel knocked it off because Israel listens to the U.S. when it comes down to it. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's what Trump did this time too. But again, we'll see what Trump actually does when he's in power. I mean, the people he's appointed around him are all pro-Israel fanatics, and there's no reason to think they'll be any different than the Biden administration. It's just the question is, Biden himself he's in cognitive decline and a lifelong committed Israel supporter. Maybe Trump will see the benefits in just from a transactional point of view, politically, that being so devoted to Israel won't help him. And maybe in that there's hope that he'll be better than Biden.